Well, well, well. What do we have here? Record breaking, once again, I should say. Since yesterday, I did a little I did my 3 videos yesterday. And then realized, wow, how high Bitcoin is all of a sudden. Smashing through the 1444 or whatever the number was that Cliff High gave as a target for Bitcoin. And it was like 1470 something, I think, or 60 something. What was it? Don't remember now. Anyways, $1,566.10. That's USD. $1,566.10. Absolute all-time high. So you probably sit back and say, well, man, silver on the other hand, and gold recently, options expiration nonsense. Boy, the cartel did a drive-by shooting on those things. Whoa. Silver, $16 and... matter of fact, I'll give you the exact quote right now. How about that? $16.35. This is one of those times, again, I don't know if I want to back the truck up, so to speak, and load the boat with silver. But, boy, it's a great buying opportunity right now. And again, if you happen to want you're a new customer to sdbullion.com, Silver Doctors, sdbullion.com/jsnip4, 10-ounce bar they are giving away for any traffic that I send them. They're giving away a 10-ounce bar at spot price. No additional fee, no 39 cents, 59, 69 cents over spot. At spot, it's just incredible. So sdbullion.com/jsnip4. The link is in my description box by default nowadays. And I had a conversation with one of the guys there a few days ago. He's like, hey, man, we just want to give you a big shout out. Thank you for sending some people our way from your videos. So I'm like, oh, cool, great. Hey, I'm all for, I don't care. I'll be honest. I don't care where you go buy it from. I don't care if you say, Joe, I'm never going to SD Bullion. I'm going somewhere else. Go for it. Just make sure you get your hands on the real stuff. But make sure you're also using a reputable dealer, because you want to make sure they are buying their silver and gold from a entity that is either they're directly buying from the mint, or the mint usually has their special, I forget what they call them, authorized dealers, which are some big names, and then they sell off that silver and gold to companies probably like SD Bullion, Gainesville Coins, AppMex, things like that. But again, at least you can know you're getting it from a reputable source. So anyways, we got to focus on some Bitcoin for the moment. $1,566 as I'm doing this video. The webbot strikes again. It said it's going to be on its way to $2,300 thereabouts. And then it's going to have a hefty, what I would call a hefty pullback. That doesn't mean back down to 1,000, but it could mean 1,400, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700, somewhere around there. 2,300, and then a sharp sell-off. That was what was forecast in the data. Looks like we're well on our way. And you probably say, well, how the hell can they smash gold and silver right now? Gold and silver get smashed, and simultaneously Bitcoin is exploding higher. Well, it's simple. The futures contracts, paper markets, set the price of gold, silver, oil, commodities, wheat, corn, all that stuff. That's what sets the price. Copper, steel. It's all set on the American exchanges, the COMEX and the NYMEX. But you can't go to those exchanges and get a futures contract for Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies for that matter. So the cartel, the club, which is the banks in conjunction with the government, flood the markets with paper contracts, and short sellers knock the price down. Then they buy it back up with the right hand. Price starts going up again. Sell off a bunch of those paper contracts. The left hand comes in and picks them up, holds on to them. Price starts rising again. The right hand comes and picks them. Rinse and repeat. But they have to have those paper derivatives products to do that. There's no paper derivatives product for Bitcoin, which I've been saying this for a long time. So isn't it amazing to see something that's not as easily manipulatable? And I say easily because there is a possibility for them to manipulate something like Bitcoin by doing this. Going out on the market, and anything that's for sale, Bitcoin, buy it all. Just slowly buy it all. And the more you buy, the prices will come down again because you're buying it all up. You got all this unlimited money in the government coffers, or the banksters themselves, again, in collusion with or without the government. Buy it all up. Okay, we got it down. We're going to hold on to these Bitcoins for a while. Well, other people were holding on to the Bitcoins too. And here's an interesting thing. But let me finish this. Other people were holding on to the Bitcoins and decided, I don't want to sell. I see the price is going down, but I'm not going to sell. I want to hold on to it. So the government can only get so many. And then all of a sudden, now there's a shortage, right? The price is going to go back up. And the government can then feed back at the market. Okay, now we're going to sell to all the buyers until they get low or don't have any left. Now the real market kicks in. Price goes back up because the government already sold off what it had to try to stem the prices from rising again. And then maybe other people decided to start selling or not, or buy more and hold on to it, right? So they don't have this control. So if they had paper contracts for Bitcoin, they could just flood the market with the paper, never having to have an actual Bitcoin in their possession, just an open account directly to the exchange with literally unlimited funding, and we're just going to flood contracts, buy them back, flood the market with contracts, buy them back. Meanwhile, never touching a Bitcoin. No Bitcoin moves anywhere. No Bitcoin is transferred. That's how they do it with silver and gold. For Bitcoin, they have to physically go and get it. And their competition, so think of it this way. When they rig the prices of gold and silver, they have the futures contracts. If you had a futures contract at the same time, again, for silver, it's 5,000 ounces, okay? If you had one futures contract and the price of silver went up $1, you just made $5,000 profit, okay? If the price got smashed $1, you just lost $5,000. Possibly a margin call. We need you to put more money back in your account because you just lost $5,000. So when the club floods the market with that paper, and you and a few other schmucks are the only few human beings left that actually have a futures contract, all 5 of you, against the thousands that the club has, they flood the market. You indirectly get crushed because their activity caused the market to go down, which caused your futures contract to sell off. Either you're going to sell it, or you're going to have stops in place that automatically sells it, or if they crush it too hard, they try to your stops try to trigger to sell, but no buyers are there, so it keeps going down, lower price, still no buyers, until it finally sells, and then you get that margin call. Dude, it went down $3. You owe us $15,000. Ouch, right? So that's how that works. But they can't do that with Bitcoin. They can flood the market all they want, right? And let's assume that the government had a whole bunch of Bitcoin right now, $1,566, and they let loose. And they knocked the price down to $1,200 because they sold so many off so fast. Naturally, the Bitcoin that you are in possession of is now worth $1,200. Let's just call it even $1,200. Worth $1,200. But you didn't get stopped out of your contract. You didn't have to meet a margin call. Margin call. You can just sit there and wait. It means nothing. There's no limit either. Like some of these futures contracts, you can only buy an open contract during the day, and by close of day, you've got to sell it. Unless you have a different type of futures contract, which lets you go to the end of the month. And then you get caught in options expiration, and you have no choice. I either roll this thing over to the next month, if that's even an option, or just sell off at the end of the month. If the looks of it, I'm getting crushed, I'm going to sell off. But with Bitcoin, that can't happen. They can push the price down by buying it, like I said, but they have no effect on you. You're still sitting on your Bitcoin. It's still in your little wallet, our imaginary wallets on our computer, so to speak, digital wallets. And you can just sit back and say, well, I've got a sneaky feeling that the price is going to go back up. It's kind of like holding physical silver, like this right here. It's kind of like holding physical. They can smash it all they want on the paper exchange. Of course, I see, what was just $18 is now 16, what did I say it was? 16.35. And you say, oh, well, they're affecting my, retirement. They're affecting my thing, my investment. Correct. And they would be doing the same thing with Bitcoin. They're affecting it too if they knocked it down. But they don't have the same tools, as Ben Bernanke would say, in their toolbox like they do on the futures markets. Not with Bitcoin. So they have to do it the old way. We're going to have to go out and physically buy a bunch of these things and then try to physically, sell them at the same time. And we're finding out that no matter how many times we do that, there's such a big market now, it's meaningless. So maybe they just decide, let's stop, and it's now going to go skyrocketing. I want you to remember something. Because, again, 1566, Webbot said 1440 something, 44 was the next stop. Okay? I keep saying that number. It's 1400 and something. I don't remember the specific number. I want to say it was 1444. Now it's 1566. So we're past that. Okay? Webbot right again. $2,300 next stop. Pullback. Several hundreds of dollars. Maybe more. We don't know. And then it's going to go past that. The Webbot has been unbelievably accurate on the price, even the timing, movements of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, as I've got numerous emails now. Hey, JSnip, thanks for the Ripple Coin advisory. Thanks for the Ethereum. I just saw Ripple was up to 0.07 USD, which is almost a penny. or actually it was at 7 cents. Excuse me, 7 cents. It was like a penny and a half or 2 cents when I first said, hey, Ripple Coin, Webbot, you may want to get in on this. And some people could have made a small fortune, obviously, if you played that right. But what did it say the price was going to go to next year, 2018? And I do have to say, the disclaimer, if the Webbot's right. And for those of you that say, well, yeah, it may not be right on that, $13,000 something JSnip, that's what it says. Yes, it does. Sometime in 2018 is what it's saying. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? But as absurd as it sounds, has it or has it not been correct the entire time since towards the end of 2015? When it said to start paying attention to Bitcoin, it started giving exact price movements, how it was going to do this thing 3 times, 408, then 428. Once it does that 3 times, it's going up. It's never coming back down to that price again. It did. Okay, now watch for 888. It keeps coming up in the data all over the place. And then after that, it's going to go in the 1,200 something range for the US dollar price. And we're also seeing for the Chinese yuan currency, it'll be 88.88. That's coming up a lot. So those are the two points where we're looking for. It hovered around 888, went past it, came back down, went below it, back to 888, back up, back down, back to 888. The amount of emails I got in my inbox over several weeks' time. JSnip, it's 888 again. I thought we were done with that. I thought it was actually past. It's doing it again. Yeah, I know. Isn't that incredible? And then it finally went up to 1291, I think. And when I did the conversion, Chinese yuan, their currency, oh my gosh, 88.88. And it hovered around that for a little bit. Then we had a little pullback. Where we're going to split off, branches of Bitcoin, and we're going to have the, the original version and this new version, and whatever. That's done with. It looks like it's old news now. Nothing's happening. Bitcoin is back on track. Next stop was 1440 something, I think. It's past that. It's 1566, which means maybe the next stop is now $2,600 or $2,300 with the pullback. But again, I must tell you this again. It's calling for $13,000 plus per Bitcoin sometime next year, 2018. And I'm just thinking to myself, $13,000 for one Bitcoin, that's absurd. And I will say this, if and when that happens, and let's assume since the Webbot has been on fire, on point the entire time with Bitcoin, that it's going to get that one right too. Since it hasn't got anything wrong with Bitcoin yet, it'll be right with it next year, which means 13,000 some odd dollars. He said, and in the future, not too distant either, we're seeing numbers like $40,000. But that's a little bit, a little bit later. So do the math. How many Bitcoins do I have? How many, tell yourself in your head, how many do I have? And some of us may get sick to our stomach when we actually realize, oh my God, $2 Bitcoin. Do you remember the day way back when, 2011-ish or whatever year it was actually, $2 Bitcoin. And there's a story of the guy that, sold his, bought some pizza, a bunch of pizzas with some Bitcoin. thinking of how many pizzas he could buy today with a bunch of Bitcoin. And then the other guy out of the UK somewhere, London or wherever he was out of, had 750 Bitcoin. And the reason the story came up was because the first time Bitcoin went to $1,000, or which actually went to, I think, 11 something as the high, or maybe it almost touched 1,200 or got near there, a few years back. That's when the story came out. Oh my God, just $1,000 times 750 Bitcoin. This guy had $750,000 on a hard drive. He's now sitting in a landfill somewhere in the UK. He dumped his computer, never thinking these things he got, for pennies or when it first came out or whatever, would be really worth something. Imagine being sick to your stomach. You'd probably be sick to your stomach. However, now that it's $1,566, and I'm not going to even kind of try to do that in my head, 1,566 times 750, $1.174 million, $1,174,500. A piece of electrons, atoms inside of a computer, hard drive, $1.1 million. Now, because I do want to get crazy with you, and I think the number was like 13,600 or 13,800. I'm going to go with 13,600 to be fair. Times 750. Oh, boy. This is going to make you sick. $10.2 million. But I want to make you more sick and assume the Webbot's going to be correct on the $40,000 call sometime in the next few years, which is really absurd, I understand. But again, if it didn't have a track record, I wouldn't even be bothering you with this one. 40,000 times 750. You might as well, you already won the lottery. I was going to say you just won the lottery. Actually, you already won the lottery in the last one. I gave you $10 million. You won the lottery. But you won in a special lottery, $30 million. 750 Bitcoins would be worth $30 million if the price goes to $40,000 like Cliff High's Webbots are suggesting in the next few years. I'm sure you'd be pretty happy with $13,000 silver Bitcoin. Oh yeah, silver. Yeah, hell yeah. Bitcoin, and make your $10 million if you had 750 Bitcoin. Here I am. Oh, I've got 7 now. 7. And I had an opportunity to get it at 250 when Cliff High said right off the bat, it's later this year we're seeing some data saying it's going to start hitting the 400s, and I'm looking at the charts. This thing's been hovering around 250 for months and months and months and months. It's not going anywhere. And this is really the first time the Webbot has really made an actual forecast like that. I'm not going to jump on there with both hands and both feet. You'd be foolish to just do that on first go unless you really wanted to gamble. And I don't like gambling. So I waited. Holy crap, it happened. It happened when he said it would happen. Wow. I'd like to have bought at $400 if I don't mind saying so. It's $1,566 today. Wouldn't you have liked to get a few Bitcoin? I could have bought 3. Well, round off the $1,600 Bitcoin. I could have got 4 Bitcoin for the price of 1 today. So we're going to look back and say this thing used to be pennies, and then it went up to $2. And now, maybe in the future we'll be saying this, now it's worth tens of thousands, or just 10,000 or 13,600 or whatever it was. That in and of itself is crazy. $1,566 for a digital currency commodity kind of a thing that you can't physically even touch it. You can't even put your hand on it. You can't even put your grimy, stinky little sweaty hands on your Bitcoin wallet, because there's no such thing as far as a physical object. It's on your computer or your cell phone, if you have a cell phone app that has your wallet on it. This is how absurd this is. But the point is, well, not even the point, I'm going to make a point. It is what it is. And if it's worth $1,566, and it's a tulip bubble, the old tulip bubble, and Bitcoin's the next tulip bubble, I've got them beforehand, and so do a bunch of you. So we're going to unload the Bitcoin tulips, if you follow me, to the people who want it desperately in the near future when the price starts skyrocketing. So I'm going to end this video by saying this. How many investment powerhouses, which are understanding we're having a hard time chasing yield and different things, and we see the writing on the wall too, we see the economic numbers, we see all this stuff too, we got to put our clients' money somewhere. And the old ways just ain't working anymore. We want something new. And we know, because we're in big finance, we can't dump a bunch of money into silver and gold. The club doesn't like that, so we're not going to do that. Is there anything else whoa. Bitcoin. Dashcoin. Ethereum. Litecoin. All these different coins. Whoa. Guys, we've got a smorgasbord of like a brand new stock market that just came alive, except it's not really stocks, it's these cryptocurrencies. And we've got trillions of dollars we need to put somewhere. And we've got all of our buddies who are laundering money, who used to put it into real estate. Again, I'm pretending I'm out in the future just a little bit. Put it into real estate, and they're getting crushed in Canada. They're getting crushed in the U.S. Their authorities are going after them. They're charging them taxes on the property because the laundered money's coming in. They're trying to stem that, stop that from happening, because the people who live in the area are actual citizens, can't even afford to live there anymore because the houses are exploding. So we're causing a problem there. We don't want them flashing that light on us because they're going to see we're laundering money. We don't want that. We got to put this hot money somewhere. Bitcoin. It's not even really trackable. Whoa. Guys. And guess what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin if some of those big money fund managers do something like that? You're talking $40,000 silver, or Bitcoin, excuse me. Got silver on my mind. There's always silver on my mind. So I'm editing this video. I just had to bring that to your attention. It's blown past $1,400 like it wasn't even there. And it's now $1,566. Take care. Got a couple of 2 or 3 videos to do.